This message was received in the wee hours this morning. Nine 6/2023. She has asked us to speak on perfection, and so we will. You hold in your mind an idea, a concept of what something is or should be. You assert that it must be a certain way to be perfect, and we say, what do you know of perfection? We tell you, you are perfect, created in the image and likeness of God, yet you deny your truth. You have so utterly convinced yourselves that this isn't so. Perfection is everything you see, because it is all God. Perfection is also everything you don't see. This doesn't mean that you do nothing to change a situation if change is required. How can change be required if everything is perfection? Good question, and we will explain. The perfection is the process of drawing to you what you require for your betterment. By means of this process, all are taught as they are able to receive. We meet you where you are. If you align to aggression, you have chosen aggression as your teacher. The man who likes to fight attracts to him more of the same, and the perfection is seen in the missing teeth he has lost in his quest for knowing. You are all in a quest for knowing. You just don't know it. Ha! So, you are met by your teacher right where you are. This is perfection. It is love. Love is the meeting in the pit of despair by another who aligns there. Your brother is your teacher. If one is hateful towards you and you are not in alignment to hatefulness, you won't even notice it. You will see it as something else. You will see it as their misery, their struggle. You may even feel compassion for their chosen experience, but you won't take it personally. You are then free to assist or allow and move on. Your actions are inspired by a greater knowing of who is ready for help and who needs to wallow in the muck a bit longer. Depending which is the case, your assisting or your allowing and walking away are also perfection, as is their chosen struggle. For if they are ready for assistance, you will be inspired to assist. That is the perfection. Many of you are not willing to see the simple truth of the love that is always present. Love is giving. God gives all things. Some of you ask for roses, and some of you ask for thorns. You truly get what you ask for. You just aren't cognizant of the asking. Then more came. God claims all without exclusion. I am is without limit or restriction. God is all that ever was, is, and could be, the Alpha and Omega, one without end. Limitation is the experience of a belief that any can be separate from the I am. Fear is a side effect of limitation, originating in separation. The belief in separation, in its varying degrees, is necessary for your experience, and all experience with a specific point of attention. God's attention must be limited to localize it to the small. God's attention must be limited to localize it to the sought field, frequency, or vibration. You are the attention of God in its degrees of limitation, which allows you to align to a field of experience. Okay. As I was just reading that, I'm gonna take a pause and go back because I was getting an image, as I was reading this about, about when they say here that your actions are inspired by a greater knowing of who is ready for help and who needs to wallow in the muck a bit longer, okay? And they go on to say that your action or inaction, I'm paraphrasing, is perfection. I have to also add there, because based on some experiences that I have had in this lifetime, sometimes we will reach out in an attempt to assist someone who is not ready for a change. There are some of us who who are very comfortable in a situation where we feel justified in blaming others, so where we can feel like we are the victim. So some, and I can speak to this, there have been times in my life where I have allowed a situation or provoked a situation to allow me to be in a position to act a certain way that I could then validate or justify my actions, okay? So sometimes we will reach out to assist others and they aren't ready to change their situation. Now, what happens then? Sometimes what happens is when we attempt to help and a change is not, okay, I'm going to get real human now because this is hard to communicate without just getting right into it. There was once a time when I had a coworker who would speak to me in a very sorrowful way about her situation in her relationship with her husband, okay? And the way she would tell me what was occurring for her in her life sounded very much like an abuse situation. Having a history of a relationship like that, I had a marriage that was like that, and now I can claim my side of it, okay? So I was a participant in this situation. I allowed myself to be the victim in the situation, but now I can see that I was not the victim at all. I was allowing it, and then I was validating and justifying my allowing myself to be the victim, okay? Anyway, so she was in a similar situation and communicating it to me, and I extended every resource I had to her to help her make a change in her situation. And no matter what I offered her, it was rejected. But I can't, but what if? And I became angry, okay? And I loved her. She was my friend. I became angry and I became sorrowful because I was not at that time able to see the situation as I am able to see it now. I did say to her at that time, I said, listen, I love you, you're my friend, but if you're not going to accept my help on this, I can no longer listen to you talk about it. So that's where I was then. As a result, our friendship dwindled away because I was not in a position to hold space for her because it rubbed me too deeply because I was still healing from my abusive relationship, okay? So, now what I will say about that is my attempt to assist her was perfect because there was something in it for me when she did not take my assistance, when she did not utilize my assistance. There was something in that for me which allowed me to later on see things in a new way. It allowed me to see how I had been participatory in the same type of victim role in the relationship I had been in. Okay, so when I say I had an abusive marriage, I'm going to say that as this is what the world recognizes it as. Okay, and I would say it was. I will also say that I claim my role and my behaviors and my allowances in that relationship. Now, when I say that I claim my role, I claim the role that I played at that time. Okay? I am wholly accountable for my role and how it allowed that condition to persist. All right? I do not find him at fault. That doesn't mean that I can't recognize the need for healing on his part or the need for a change on his part. I had to change. Okay? I had to see the role I was playing as the victim, and I needed to change the way I was in the world. I would also say that his life, his human experience would be bettered by a change as well. But I can't say he has to or he should, right? So that's where I am today, is we can make an attempt, and if our attempts are rejected, if we feel some kind of way about that, and I guess this is the point, is when we feel these agitations within us, we are called to look at them, acknowledge that they're there, and question why. Question, what is that? Why is that there? What is it for? What is it trying to show me, Now, if a feeling comes and you can allow it and it is quickly forgotten, it's not it's not your work, as they would say. It's not your work. But if there is something troubling you, and one of the messages I gave lately said, God said, seek me in all the things of your world that trouble you. Because it is an indication when we have that discomfort, dis-ease within the body, it is an indication that there is something here for us. There is an opportunity there being given for us to shed something that is not serving us, that is unhealthy for us, okay? That is restricting us from our abundance. It is restricting us from our full expression, from our Christ expression. Yes. So that's just a little bit that was coming to me as I was reading this, is, you may be inspired to help someone, and your assistance may be rejected, and that is perfect too. It is perfect too, because we don't know what anything is for. We have limited, right? God's attention, his focus of attention, her focus of attention has been limited in order to allow the human experience. So that is why we don't know what anything is for, because that attention has been limited for a purpose that is perfect also. Well, maybe we could, but I can't perceive of it, being able to function in this human form while being omniscient. I know how difficult it is to be in the world now. So if I got to the point where I was completely omniscient and knew everything and I could be everywhere at one time, how would I be here? How could I focus my attention here to be doing what I'm doing right now? So the things that we have in our history, and very recent history at that, condemned or demonized, as in our egos, you know. A lot of the New Age teachings seem to demonize the ego. Without that self-identity, without that, the focus of God could not be limited to have the human experience. And so, you know, there's another thing. It's time to stop. It's time to stop blaming something. There is no bad guy. There is no bad guy. It is all here for us to allow us, to enable us to have the experience we're having, which experience we have chosen. Gladly, in gratitude and excitement, we came. So that is all for now. In peace and in love, may you be blessed.